Hello everyone. Sorry to keep you all waiting. The video was almost ready and then I missed two important segments, so I have to repeat. Um, this is a session to repeat about the bylaws and the residential design parameters that most of you have missed in the class. So I will show you what are the most important aspects in the design of residential buildings. Now, this is a list of most important aspects in building bylaws and residential design parameters. The first one in the building bylaws is the plot area, then what is meant by coverage, then FAR, it used to be called FSI, that is floor area ratio of FAR, and then the height of buildings or the number of floors that you can build, and then ventilation, and then setbacks. The design of residences, they have certain parameters called floor area, plinth area, size of rooms based on furniture and anthropometry. Then what else is there in this? Safety, ventilation of the rooms, number of people in the family, privacy, comfort and convenience. I want you to make a note of these. There are more aspects in the book by the Kumaraswamy book called aspect ratio and all, which you can read, but these are the most important aspects. The coverage is usually 50% of the plot area, that's 50% of the 300 square meters, that's 150 square meters. That means in this, if we draw the building plinth, this area is 150 square meters. You can convert it into 10 by 15. So this is 10, this is 15, or variations of this 9 by something or 8 by something, depending on your room requirements. So for us, the bottom line is 150 square meters. Okay. Now the 10 meter by 15 meter is the coverage. This is also called the plinth area. Alright. If I build the wall inside it, assuming I'm just building a box. The plinth area is the orange line, the 10 meter by 15 meters. If I build a box using a brick wall all around, and maybe I build some other walls, and though this is not a floor plan, if I take out the wall area, estimate how much is this wall area. 9 inches wall, that is 30 centimeters. These are usually 15 centimeters. Estimate what is the area occupied by these lines. I take the plinth area minus wall area is floor area. So if you see a brochure of an apartment complex being built, they will give you the floor areas of apartment, saying the apartment number A1 is 1200 square feet and A2 is 1000 square feet. These are basically the floor areas. They are not the plinth area because the walls occupy some area. As a thumb of a rule of a thumb, or a round approximate number, is the wall area should not be more than 10%. It used to be an old rule. I'm not very sure if it is still valid, but that's what was the assumption. Don't take this as a rule, but that's how it used to be originally. So now we know the plot area, coverage, plinth area and floor area. What I have not mentioned in the first part of this video is setbacks. Setbacks are nothing but the distance between the plinth area, the plinth, from the boundary of the wall. The setbacks are the distance between the boundary of the site to to the building line. The building line means the plinth. Now how do we know what is this? Now we know this is 50% of the land occupied by the building. The rest of the 50% is outside it. How do we know? Should this be 6 meters? Should this be 3 meters? Should it be 4 meters? The basis on which these setbacks are decided is mostly based on the width of the road and the buildings all around it. If the width of the road is very narrow, this front setback, this is called the front, because we will be entering the building from here. The front setback is larger. The narrower the road, this setback increases. If the building height is taller, then the setback increases, the front setback, based on the width of the road. So this width of the road dictates how many floors can you build on this particular area and how much you need to leave in the front. This is front space is basically for parking, for people movement, for cars, vehicles, two-wheelers. The side setbacks, both of these are important for the sake of ventilation for the house that we are building, as well as the ensuring enough ventilation for your neighbors. Similarly, the rear setback. Now, the setbacks and the building design are controlled not only by the building bylaws but also by Vastu Shastra, also by convenience, also by requirement of parking, also by supposing there's a large giant tree here on the site before we build, that will push this building back because its roots are going to be there. We have to uproot or remove the whole tree to build a house. Instead of removing the whole tree, we might move this. Suppose sometimes it's a tree, sometimes it's a underground large rock or a water body or a tank, or this site person has giant trees on this boundary, or he has a sump or a water container very close to this compound wall. Those are the reasons this building will need a bigger side back compared to this. According to Vastu Shastra also, they say that the northeast should be more empty compared to southwest. So they will say, oh, this area you need to break the building like that. So there are several reasons basing the reasons for how much is the setback. We will see in this further when I erase this and come back to this. Like I said, the setbacks are dictated by Vastu Shastra, parking requirement, existing trees, rocks or underground water channels, and building bylaws. We will design according to building bylaws because this all they have given us is this 15 meter by 20 meter site. So we will go by the building bylaws. Like I said, when we start designing a project, you get a piece of paper like this, the first thing that we need to do is visit the site, look at its boundaries and existing structures, existing elements on the site. Now the building bylaws say the front setback should be larger than the rear setback. And in residential areas, most of the time it's 10 feet and the rear is 5 feet. 10 feet means 3 meters. This is 1.5 meters. And then minimum requirement. Because it's a one floor building, we say 5 feet on both sides. So that's 1.5 meters and 1.5 meters. So if we go by the original design of 15 meters, if you take out 1.5 plus 1.5 from 15, this is 12, right? And this is 3 plus 4.5. So out of the total of, how much was it? 15 by 20 and 50%. This was 10 by 15. So this whole will be, I'm sorry, I forgot. This was 10 originally, and then this was 15. So if out of the 15 we have actually more than 15 now, 4 plus 1 4 4.3 plus 1.5 4.5, 20 minus 4.5, that is 15.5. So as you can see, based on the bylaws, our 10 has become 15, 12. So you have a lot more area to build. Now we can see that the plinth area, instead of 10 by 15, because we are taking out the setbacks, has changed slightly more than 50%. So it has become 12 by 15.5. So I think if we try to estimate how much percentage, it probably goes up to 60%. So this is possible because I have assumed the setbacks. If we are doing 50% coverage, the setbacks will be larger, and this 150 will be a confirmed number, you cannot change it. So when you start designing, fix the 150 or 50% of the built area, divide it like 10 by 15 and fix the block first, and then divide the setbacks. If this was 10, hold on, I'll use a different. So if this is 10, we have total of 15. So 15 minus 10 is 5. So we can say I'm going to leave 2.5 meters on this side and 2.5 meters on this side. So the total is 15 meters. Similarly, the total is 20 and we are supposed to use only 15 of it. So we are 20 minus 15, we have 5 meters left. So we can say the front is 3 and the rear is 2. I hope this gives the clarity on whether the first priority is the 50%. First we have to figure out what is the dimension of the block, right? First figure out what is 50%. Once you get the 50% area, divide it like I said, either 10 by 15 or 9 by something. Fix the block size, and the remaining length of the total 15 will go on both sides. Similarly, it will go on the front and the rear. Make sure that the front setback is bigger than the rear setback. This is how building bylaws will dictate how a block is being decided. Break.